Hello everyone, welcome back once more to another video on the 14. So, a big killer for any car is rust. I knew the 14 had rust because prior to buying it I had a quick look underneath and every single spot that I noticed was on the undercarriage. It was the two jacking points, a couple of spots on the sill and the floor pan. So I did budget for having them bits sorted out. What I done was pop down to the guys at In Front Autos and see my buddy Steve. Steve is a fabricator as well as a mechanic, so I knew that getting him to have a quick look over it, he could tell me for sure what needed doing, what didn't need doing, what was surface rust and what was actually rot. Here was the outcome. Oh, I think that's what's rattling. You can hear it when you're... Oh.
That's shit and it is fucking cutting.
That can just come out. It's only a...
Yeah, it's like a prop.
Although saying that, that's a fuel tank, isn't it? I love this repair job on the pipe. They've obviously cut the back box out.
Yeah, that's not the best.
And then they've cut the flange off and welded it shut completely there. So I can't even get another like, back box. It's just a complete system. Oh yeah, a lovely bit of tubing. What do we reckon? This is the worst side out of the pair.
Well, they're both, yeah, probably is because that's got an hole in the wheel arch there as well.
Right.
So this fucking back, probably about fucking foot needs replacing because I feel like a load of bumps and shit in there, so it'll be wanked. So it gets about here and it don't feel too bad. So it's probably about there.
I mean, the only other spots that I noticed when I was under it was on this chassis rail. Here they've obviously tried jacking the car up and it's fucking crumbled. And then here again, there's a hole there.
Yeah, that's quite fascinating. Yeah, it might, that's how it is. It looks a bit mad in a way, don't put it together there, but that's how it is both sides. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is common where they use the frame rail to jack them up, like these chassis rails.
I think the problem with these is they're an own market car, and if they've been in this country a while, they get a bit cruddy, don't they?
Well, yeah, this is a UK spec one.
Oh, is it a UK spec?
Yeah, this is UK spec, yeah. I mean, when I was on the forum, they were like, you'd be lucky if you find one without rust, that's been in the UK, or if you do, it's been, it's been repaired at least once in its life. After looking over the whole car, me and Steve had a little bit of a sit down and had a chat. This chat was basically me saying to him that whatever he finds to just cut out and replace. So I basically said to Steve, look, just crack on with it. If you find a bit that we haven't spoken about, just cut it out, get welding and, seal it up. Simple as that. I checked in frequently with the guys over at In Front just to see how the car was doing. This particular section that you're going to see is when Steve was going through the sill just to show me what he had found. As you can clearly see, the hole is rather large on the sill. This next bit that you're going to see, Steve has actually cut out the outer skin of the car and started work on the inner sill. Using 2mm thick steel, he basically reinforced the inner sill. Okay, here you can see that Steve has fabricated a brand new jacking point along with inserting the captive nut for the boomerang mount. Okay, so this is the final product of the passenger side. He's sealed it and coated it in Dinatrol's stone chip, which is set nice and solid, and I know that it is a pretty good product. If you remember rightly, Steve pointed out that the driver's side wheel arch had a hole in it and it also had a cruddy jacking point. This underwent the same treatment as the passenger side with a whole load of fabrication taking place on here, all again out of 2mm thick steel. The end result was the finished product that you see in front of you, which is something that I'm more than happy with. Steve has done a cracking job on this side, sort of patching it all in, sorting it all out, and unless you proper had an eye for detail, you wouldn't really think it was there. I also pointed out to Steve there was a few spots on the chassis rail that weren't so much surface rust but hadn't obviously transferred into like the rotting stage, so he got to work sorting them, and as you can see that they're near on stock looking, so thank you very much, Steve. top work. There was also a small patch behind the driver's seat in the floor that needed to be sorted out. So as you can see, this has all been cut out and patched up quite nicely. So the final bit of welding was in the front passenger wheel arch. We spotted a small hole there, so Steve was going to get set. What I failed to realise when I first pointed it out to Steve is this section right here, which is near enough the size of a letterbox opening, is completely rusted away. So this is a bit of a cause for concern really. When the car goes in, I can't remember if I showed you guys or not, but on the front part of the passenger tub, there's a bit of under seal or seam seal or whatever it is. It's clearly been brushed on, and I found out from the previous owners and then some that there was some form of repair work done in the past. Now, I don't know if that's obviously transferred through and that seam sealer is literally just acting like a bit of Bondo and keeping it in shape. So Steve is going to pull all that seam sealer back, take a look. Worst case scenario, I'm going to need a front tub and obviously that repair work towards the strut tower bottom. Best case scenario, it's just going to be that bottom part of the strut tower that's going to be cut out and re-welded. Steve done a fantastic job, and I have actually got the car back now. It spent a total of 3 weeks inside the workshop, and in all honesty, I didn't really care how long it spent in there as long as everything got sorted out. Everything did get sorted out aside from that small patch that I just showed you, the sort of small letterbox size hole that needs addressing. Basically, Steve had overrun his time on the car and he had other jobs booked in and he couldn't push them back any further. So I have to go back in a couple of weeks' time and get that all sorted out. Once the warmer weather starts to brighten up, I am going to get under the car and basically take whatever I can back to bare metal, get under there with etch primer and then go over it with some proper gun-based stone chip. The rust, I didn't really, you know, it's gone over my budget. You can't really budget for these things, but now that it's done and it's, well, somewhat done and it's out the way, I can start to focus my efforts on other things on the car, but they will obviously be for future videos. As usual guys, I just want to say a massive thank you for tuning in, and commenting, liking the videos is always a bonus. If you are a frequent but you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year, so if you guys can make that happen, that would be awesome. I'm also aiming to do a massive giveaway when I do hit the 1,000 mark, so keep tuned in for that. In the meantime guys, stay safe and I shall see you next time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bam!